You know, I hate to admit this, but I am slightly addicted to Temu. Okay? I am. There are times I find myself just laying in bed, scrolling through, adding a bunch of things to my cart. I hit purchase. I wake up the next day and I don't even know what I bought. But on this episode, I know what I bought, and I'm super excited to do a review on it. As you guys know, not only am I addicted to Temu, I also love nostalgia, and I love nostalgic gaming systems like the Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1. And I found this thing on Temu that was being advertised to me. It's called the Anbernic RG353PS, and it's a handheld gaming system that supposedly is preloaded with like 8,000 games. And you can play anything from the PS1 to Super Nintendo to Nintendo, Sega, the Dreamcast. So much stuff. And we're going to see if my $100 went to a great device or if I threw $100 in the trash. So in order to do like a true review video, I had to also purchase on Temu a $5 gaming console because I really wanted to compare a $5 gaming console compared to a $100 gaming console that they are selling on their website, because they both kind of advertise the same thing. This thing, I think, was like $6, and it looks exactly like an old school Game Boy, and it said it was preloaded with tons of games, and it can emulate very, very, very well. So let's take a look at this first and see how it holds up. As you can see, I'm turning it on here. Oh, this is not a good start. It says Chinese or English. Okay, let's go ahead and go with English. Hit start. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with Super Mario, the first one. Let's do a little playthrough. Okay, so far it looks good. We're going to go ahead and start here. The controls feel okay. Actually, it feels a little bit sped up, but honestly not so bad. I feel like the screen is flickering a little bit, which is a little weird. Let's go ahead and try another game here. Let's try Mario 14. That sounds so weird. Wow. I have no idea what this is. This is like Mario with a samurai sword? This has got to be a hacked game. This did not exist. The controls on this are very odd. They do not feel natural. Feels very laggy, just going to be honest. But then again, that's not really fair for me to criticize this game because obviously this is a hacked game, so let's try another game. Let's try Mario 3. I loved this game growing up. I gotta say, so far, the gameplay is really smooth on this. I mean, for $5, I can't really complain. All right, now that we have that out of the way, I want to talk about this bad boy, the Anbernic RG353PS Handheld Gaming Device. Now, what's cool about this is it comes in different colors. Like you can get like the classic grayscale one that looks more like an old school Game Boy. I went with this like see-through purple. I just really liked it. It was different. Let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on. As you can see, it boots right up and it starts you off on the Sega Mega Drive. Now, before I go any further, just let me tell you how this thing came packaged. First of all, it was packaged very well in the box, and it came with 2 SD cards. One was already inside the device, which is the operating system. And then the other SD card it came with, I stuck it in there, and that's what held all of the games. So once you put that in and you start up, it just starts right up. So as you can see here, we've got the Sega Mega Drive with over 3,000 games. We have the Game Gear with over 1,300 games. We've got Dreamcast, we've got Neo Geo Pocket, PlayStation, my favorite, PSP, all games, favorites, last played, MAME, which is arcade games. We have, what is that? Final Burn? I don't know what that is. Capcom Play System number 1. We have Capcom Play System number 2. And number 3, we have screenshots, PC Engine. We have the Nintendo Entertainment System, another one of my favorites, with over 3,000 games. We've got the Game Boy, We've got Super Nintendo. I love this Super Nintendo. And then we have Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Open Bore, I have no idea what that is, ports, and of course settings, and we're back to the Sega Mega Drive. So as you guys can see, this thing is loaded with games. But now it's time to show you guys some gameplay. Now, I personally want to start off playing the Sony PlayStation, because the PlayStation, I can just assume on this device, is going to be pulling a lot of data, and I want to see if this thing holds up. I mean, there's so many polygons in this system, and you know it's going to be hard to play on a small device like this, or so you would think. So let's see how it holds up. Let's go ahead and start with Crash Bandicoot. I used to play this game quite a bit when I first got my PlayStation. You know, Crash was basically like the Mario or Sonic the Hedgehog of the Sony PlayStation for a while, until Lara Croft came around. I mean, I guess they were both like pretty equal mascots for the PlayStation. Okay, I can already tell you that the controls are super responsive. All right, let's go ahead and try another game. Let's play one of my favorite fighting games for the PlayStation, Tekken 3. Once again, the controls are so fluid, responsive. I think we have ourselves a winner here. And if this thing can handle PlayStation games, there's no doubt it's going to be able to handle Super Nintendo games, Sega games, and obviously regular Nintendo games. Let's try the PSP, which is the PlayStation Portable. I think the specs on this device was actually possibly higher than the PlayStation 1. Let's give it a try. Let's go ahead and beat Eddie. Eddie's awesome. He's like a breakdancer. Always loved him. I mean, already I'm so impressed. Again, everything's responsive. I'm surprised this thing is not glitching, because these graphics obviously are way better than the PS1 emulator. And just for fun, let's play some Super Nintendo. So what's cool here is that there are so many games that you can actually filter games by text. So if I go in here, I can actually type in Castlevania, and it's going to come up. Let's just start with spelling Castle. And there it is, Castlevania Chronicles, Castlevania 4. Let's do Castlevania 4. Once again, guys, so responsive. It's not laggy one bit. This is incredible. Also, Castlevania is one of my all-time favorite series for the Nintendo Entertainment System. So good. Well, there you have it, folks. The Anbernic RG353PS. Guys, this was $98 and some change. Very well spent. I did a lot of research on handhelds like this that are capable of playing ROMs. One thing I will say is that I don't think this thing was legally supposed to come preloaded with 8,000 ROMs. Yeah, I would say that's totally illegal, but again, I'm not complaining here. Now, one thing that's cool is that, you know, I noticed that there were some games on here that weren't preloaded on it that I really wanted to play, like Parappa the Rappa, and I can't legally tell you how to go out and find those games and load them on here, but I will say it's really easy if you just do your homework. And so I did that, so I can play Parappa the Rapper on here, which is incredible because Parappa the Rapper, I've tried playing that on my PC through an emulation, and it got off sync. The music games just never worked for me. On this, I can play Parappa the Rapper just fine. One I can't play okay on this is a game called Bust a Groove, and it's a dance game that I used to love when I was in middle school. And it's a dance sync to button game to the music. And what happens is about halfway through a level, like it works great, but then the music and the synchronization gets off and it's just not working correctly. But other than that, the fact that I can play Parappa the Rapper for the first time is incredible. And just every game so far I've played on here, I've had zero lag issues. The controls are just spot on. Again, no lag. It's very responsive. I love all the controls here. They're spaced out great. I don't have a bad thing to say about this device. There's a lot out there, so do your research. You know, you might want something out there that's a little more expensive with some more capabilities, but for the price, from what I've researched, this is the best bang for your buck, especially with all the games preloaded and everything. And you can actually customize this too. There's other tutorials out there how to put, you know, different emulation software on here to make it maybe run a little bit smoother, and it's rechargeable. So anyway, yeah, I'm super happy with this purchase. I was so excited to get this thing in, and yeah, I was not disappointed at all. Here's what I want to know. What are some of your favorite nostalgic games? For me, Castlevania wins me over every time. I can go back and play all those old school Castlevanias for the Nintendo, Super Nintendo over and over and over again. Also, I want to know, have you found a handheld game device that you feel like is better than this? I want to know, because I am so into this. But if you own this device too, I want you to comment and tell me what you think of it. Have you ran into any issues or anything like that? Because so far, I have been just thrilled with this purchase, and I highly recommend it. Guys, Temu, I'm so shocked that they have, honestly, such great deals. And really, I do, for the most part, when I buy something off Temu, I just feel like it's just a high risk, because their stuff, for the most part, is just so inexpensive. So, you know, the saying, you get what you pay for. But for real, most of the time when I make a purchase through Temu and I expect junk, it's not junk. I feel like I'm getting a great deal. So, I highly recommend this. I'm Chris Canote with Canote Films. What do you guys think? Do you think it's worth the investment? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys next time.